Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast, episode number 425. It is a great Thursday evening in Lexington, Kentucky. Yes, this is Stephen Zimmer broadcasting to you live. And joining me tonight in the co hosting chair, the one and only. She's back, folks. That's it. Metal Beck Harrison. Beck, I think you are on. So
I'm
I hope you're there.
back.
She's back. She's back. Her work schedule prevented her from being on the show for a little while, but she's able to be on this week, and who knows, maybe next week as well. We are doing Thursdays because we have a Holly on the road and doing a big Indiana trip, and so yeah, Holly's not able to join us tonight, so we have to do Thursdays tonight and again next week. But that means that Beck is in the co-hosting chair. And how are you? It's been a little while since you've been on the show. You got anything to share? Any updates? Any cool stuff?
Oh,
Because you did
I'm
get to go to
doing good.
Imaginarium, and of course,
I've been staying busy.
everybody saw you there.
I'm recuperating from the one of our best years ever at Imaginarium. I've been taking care of our little champion Addison. She had a little surgery this week, but she's doing good and she's as feisty as ever. So, we're
Yes,
staying busy.
yeah. Speaking of Addison and also Bentley, two of your three, of course, with Branson, we had a great time last weekend at the LaGrange Book Fair in LaGrange, Kentucky. And Holly was feeling under the weather, so she was not able to go. And so bravely, Bentley and Addison, our little future WWE champion, stepped forward and said, "We will go with you, El Padre. We will help you." And they were very enthusiastic, and they even said the day went pretty quick, and they were not bored. So definitely a victory when you're dealing with young ones. So yes, I had the both Bentley and Addison with me, and they were my assistants all day at the book fair, and it was a great one. And it looked like they had fun. It looked like they had a lot of fun.
They had a lot of fun. They always love going. They love going to all of your events with you.
And yeah, we had such a good time. Of course, it's run by the wonderful Tony Acree of Hydra Publications, and of course, his family, his kids and wife and all are at the heart of it. And of course, they got a lot of great volunteers. There's so many good people. I mean, it'd be hard for me to mention everybody that was there. But we had, probably around 50 authors. Carol Preflatish was there. It was always good to see Carol. And Carol came through like a champ. She gave us some chocolate early in the day. And that definitely perked
Yes,
up
amazing
both kids
chocolate.
and myself. Yes. Yeah, and Beck got a special package from Carol as well. So did you you got the little the packet with the card and
I
the
got
candy
the
and
I
everything?
got the
Yeah.
chocolate, I got the candy, the cards, everything. It
Hmm.
was amazing. It was a cute little packet. I
Oh,
loved
it's
it.
awesome. Yeah, Carol was giving that out with she was sitting over there with the Derby Rotten Scoundrels, that great group of mystery writers out of Louisville, Kentucky. And yeah, I got to talk to Linda Reese as well a little bit over the weekend. Lots of great folks. Kathy Jackson. I was seated next to uh, Abigail Keem. I hadn't seen Abigail in a long time. Great to see her again. On my other side, of course, the fine ladies at Per Bostet Publications. The two of the three in the literary triumvirate. It's Teely Harris and then Marion Allen. I guess Sarah must have been busy, but I got to see two out of three, so that was great. And Ethan Avery, who's a great filmmaker and screenwriter, was right across from me with Mick Williams and Dave Creek, and I also got to spend some time with Arlen Andrews Sr., Lee Pennington, and just all around just a great environment. Everybody saw Kelly Ferguson, author editor, just an all around great time. It's had that reunion vibe too, and for once I didn't have to worry about running anything, which is great. I just got to be an author at a table, which I can't tell you how good that feels. Not to have Tony got to worry about all the logistics and everything like that. That was his deal. So, but they carried it out flawlessly. And actually, I sold a lot of books. I mean, I was amazed.
I think it was
Like
those pelicans you took. I think it was your
it
good luck
must have been.
charm.
They must have been. I mean, I saw so many of my readers there, I know Philip Yoakum and Joe Shelley and all kinds of great folks stopped by to see Marion Gosling as well. Yeah, just so many just great folks stopped by and picked up books and lots of new readers. And yeah, at the end of the day, when I saw what I'd sold, I was like, wow, I got to empty two I had two empty boxes that I got to throw away. And trust me, all authors can relate to what I'm saying when I say it feels good. When at the end of the day, you can actually discard a couple empty boxes and you don't have to pack them up to go home. So that was really nice. And it was the first time too. I don't know if you knew this, Beck, but first time I had all 32 of my titles in print on display. So that was fun. First time I got to get all of the print in a picture. So which I'm still not shared online. I'm so tardy on this. I've been so slow in posting, but I swear I'll get it out tomorrow, folks. I just got hit with a lot of stuff when I came back. I had to finish up an editing some editing job and make sure I got that done on time and some other things. So I got pretty bogged early in the week. So I will definitely get that get that picture posted. But all in all, I mean, it was very well run. Ran smooth as glass. I mean, it was a fun day. We had people constantly during the day. Yeah, Tracy Griffin also stopped by. Really good to see her as well. Lynn Tincher, yeah, all the yeah, right. My head is just filling with everything from the day right now, and it was a good time. And definitely put this event on your calendars. It's the first Saturday in August each year, and Tony already has the dates locked for next year. It's the first Saturday in August, like I said. But definitely, it's definitely an event that everybody should support. Come out to either attend or participate in. It's a really good single day author event, and I had a blast. So I had a busy week and a good weekend. So yeah, here I am, and looking forward to, like I said, tonight bringing you a great show with a great guest. But I do want to before we get into some more discussion, I do want to recognize the two parties that brought you tonight's show, and that would be Sandy Lender, the genre blender, and also the wonderful, amazing Ren Garcia of the League of Elders series. So we'll go with Ren first tonight, and then Sandy, because I want to make a couple comments, because Sandy's got a lot going on, folks. But here's Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Yes, we sure are, Ren. Aren't you, Beck? Admit it. Admit it.
We
We're
are
weird enough.
weird enough. Yes, we are.
That's the classic question that Ren always asks in this spot. So we always have answered it to the affirmative. So thank you, Red. Now we're going to go over and give you a little bit about Sandy, and definitely a big month for her. You'll see why. Here's Sandy.
Author Sandy Lender is an international bestseller with awards for her poetry, short stories, nonfiction, and fantasy novels. And now she's released her craziest book yet. You can pre-order 100 Things Duran Duran fans should know and do during this life. That's right, humor, fun, a touch of autobiography, and a whole lot of 80s and 90s nostalgia is available now for pre-order. Visit AuthorSandyLender.com to get signed up for the Sandy Says Read newsletter, or go follow her Amazon author page at Sandy Lender. You don't want to miss any of the cool stuff that's coming next.
Thank you, Sandy. You're amazing as always, and this book is going to be awesome. I know I'm picking up a copy. You're a fan of Duran Duran, aren't you, Beck?
I know some of their stuff. Yes.
Well, after you read this book, you probably be an even bigger fan, because let me tell you, Sandy is is probably their number one fan
I know that she
nationally.
is their number one fan. I have
And
learned that about Sandy.
there will be a copy in the house. I'm buying a copy of this for sure, and definitely going to get the print version. So it will be sitting around, Beck. So you definitely want to pick it up and read it. It's going to be awesome. And Sandy also should mention too, this is edited by Jen Selinsky. And as we mentioned last week, Jen has been having a difficult time with her passing of her husband. I wanted to thank all of our writing community and listeners that have responded. We did post a link to a meal train that was made available in the Imaginarium forum and the guest forum as well, and also posted that on my personal Facebook page. And I want to thank all the folks that did respond and have sent Jen meals. I know because they can be done through that. And then also have also sent other contributions to help with the hospital bills and other things. So thank you very, very much for being generous with Jen. It's definitely a long road ahead. We definitely love her, and she does great work. And pick up. You'll be supporting her as well by picking up a copy of this great Duran Duran book, because that's one of the ones that she worked on with Sandy. So, but Jen, if you're listening tonight, we're thinking of you. We have you at heart. And so, on the topic of Imaginarium, though, Beck, I do want to mention. Hold on. I'm looking in the chat room. It is filling up, folks. It looks like it's getting active. And yes, I see. It looks like the birthday boy is in there. Almost. It's just 3 hours till his birthday, but I want to wish him an early birthday. It would be Jordan Harrison, Beck's other half. He's in the chat room, which is cool to see. Happy birthday. And I gave him a special little gift tonight, but that he hopefully be able to take advantage of soon. And looks like Dewan Hearn is in there. Looks like, hi, Sandy Lender, Nessa Brown. Yeah, we got everybody in there. So it looks like it's hopping and active, folks. So good. But yeah, we were talking about Imaginarium, and Beck knows this, what I'm about to share. But we are going live with Imaginarium 2025 as of this Monday. And the dates, of course, are set. We've leaked them on here before, July 18 to 20 of next year. And we also have a new registration system that we're integrating, which is going to make your process of getting advance event tickets and vendor spaces and things like that easier. And so, yes, we are looking forward to bringing you an even smoother experience than ever. And we will be opening up the early discount phase for all that stuff, expo spaces, event tickets, and opening up guest applications. And shortly after that, we'll be opening up the call for entries for the film festival. So yeah, there's going to be a flurry of stuff here in mid-August. But definitely take advantage of the discount window, because you can save big on expo spaces, also save big on event tickets, and you might as well get them now and get them in at that early bird price. It's well worth it. The savings are very significant. So keep an eye out for that announcement. That will be coming your way on Monday. So it's going to be a good one. So yes, we're going to bring you. We already have one guest of honor. I can give you that much confirmed. And when I said one guest of honor, there's a possible scenario where we will have co-guests of honor in addition to Imagineer guests for 2025. So we're working on something on that, but we do have one of them confirmed. So yes, I do have a guest of honor to share with you very, very soon. So, but yes. Let's see, Carol. Yeah, because Carol's been doing very well. She won a Best Screenplay Award, short format this year at Imaginarium 2024. And I see her comment that she needs to get writing her next screenplay. Yes, yes, you do, Carol. Yeah, Dwan has also been an award winner in the screenplay side of things at Imaginarium. So hopefully, he'll be sending us something too for next year. But yes, it looks like our guest is on deck, is in the VIP green room, as they say, and I am excited. So what do you say, Beck? Let's bring her aboard.
Get my favorite witch on.
All right, that gives you a little hint. And tonight's guest is an author, a screenwriter, a filmmaker, a actress, and just amazing talent. And she is the author of the Majick of the Chosen One series, and now almost ready for release is book 3, The Path of Destiny. So without further ado, it's my honor and definitely elated to bring aboard tonight for the Star Chamber show the one, the only, Rose Marie Machario. Rose, your mic is on.
Woo! Hello, how is everyone?
Doing good.
Hi, Rose.
Hey,
Hello,
Rose.
Becca. I'm
There
so
you are.
excited.
You should be.
One of my favorites.
For
I'm excited to be on the new Podbean.
Yes, Podbean is a definitely we're loving it. We're learning more about it, and it's just been a definite upgrade from our previous platform. And I'm very happy with it. And yes, that's good for you because yeah, all the news we're getting out tonight will be spread across all of the platforms we distribute to, which is like Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Amazon. I mean, all kinds of places. So
Oh, that's
yes,
neat.
it's even better than
That's so
ever.
exciting.
And of course, we're grateful for all the listeners on all of our platforms, those of you that listen live to the show, and those of you that listen to it later on your favorite platforms. Definitely, all of it helps keep spreading the word. Because tonight, yeah, we're going to be telling you about a great new book, which I do have a bit of insight on, and that would be The Path of Destiny, which Amazon cooperated. For once, they cooperated and timed it perfectly so that here we are as we began the show, just before the show, the pre-order for the Kindle version went live. So yes, we got a
Which is
pre-order.
which is super exciting, especially since today is the Lionsgate portal. So all things that can happen will happen.
Well, hopefully on the good side of things for sure. And in case
Yes,
you're hooked,
yes.
that's good. So yeah, because yesterday I was struck with a Murphy's Law kind of day. Like Beck could tell you, I mean, it was like every direction I
Poor
turned,
Steven
it was
had
the worst
Steven.
day ever.
Steven's Mercury retrograde was in full swing yesterday. He did not have the
Mm.
best
No,
day
no, no.
at all. You could tell it was not a good day for him. He needed to restart all over.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I was even running an errand to Burger King just to give you one example. And at this place that I love, and the manager is always really cool with me. I know him, and no, I don't eat at Burger King often, but I was craving. I was
He
filling up
does
the
like
car
to
for
have it
Holly,
his way
but I do
sometimes.
like when I do stop by and get a sandwich. I like to have it my way because that's what they say. BK, have it your way, right? I did
Right?
not. I
Right.
I did not get it my way. They
Oh no.
literally for ordering one sandwich, they told me to pull up and wait, and then forgot about me.
Oh.
So I finally had to actually walk into the store. Yeah, it was
And it was
great.
funny because the Pelicans kept going, Steven's been gone longer than usual. And usually when Steven's gone a while, we know he's having a Burger King run. But this was way longer than usual. And when he came home, we could tell something did not go his way.
Oh
Yeah, no,
no.
no, it did. Their commercial did not live up to it. It did not. They did not go my way, and
And we
nor did it.
felt so bad for him.
Like that, you pull up there and
Oh.
they say you rule and you can have it your way. Well, neither of those things were true yesterday.
Oh. Well,
So
Mercury does rule over communication, and there therefore was a serious communication breakdown, obviously,
it
with the
was
order.
there's a slight thing that the person working there, which probably explains a little bit as to why they completely forgot about me. Evidently can't count like money either. And when they gave me, I asked for a refund, and they gave me a cash refund, and I just took it and left because I was not feeling too great about getting hung out to dry. But I when I got home and counted it, I actually had $2 more.
Wow.
They gave me an extra $2. So
They
I'm like,
tipped you for
okay.
your time.
Yeah. Yeah. I figure, well, that covers the extra gas or something, right? So,
Right?
but, so I was like, okay, I'll take it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, if they had given me like an extra 100 back, I would have gone back to the store and given it to them. But Holly had to leave, and I was not driving back over $2. So,
Right. Well,
so but but anyway, that's the kind of day I had. But yes, I got through it. That's what we do, and then today is feeling good because you're on the show, and the Path
Yes,
of
we love
Destiny is up for
Rose.
pre-order, and I'm familiar with it
yes.
because I served for the first time as your editor, and really enjoyed, like I said, working deep in your prose and the story, and finally, getting to look, because one thing to just read it, but then it's another thing to look at it with the focus you have as an editor. So I mean, I really got to really go into it, and really appreciate the series even more now. And it's such a good book, and the cover is beautiful. I mean, all three covers look so beautiful together. Of course, they have a
Mm-hmm. Oh
nice,
yeah.
nice, consistent look. But yeah, that was a fun because you sent me an update on what you were going to put on the cover, and then when the final cover came through, it just looked great.
Oh
But that
yes.
Randy Humphrey did the work on this. But you want to talk, I guess, a little bit about the cover first, because that's what a lot of people are
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
see.
So Ashley Burt created, of course, the real amulet of elements. She created the Yggdrasil tree pendant that's on book 2, and the ring that is on book 3, and that is a real garnet.
Yeah.
Real for reals garnet. And she did an amazing job with my description of how the ring looked, and I told her to still kind of do her own spin with it, and she did it. She nailed it. And I took pictures of it for the cover, and Randy worked his magic and literally used a couple of different pictures I sent and kind of merged it together in a way, just because garnets are really dark. Like a lot of the pictures I took, the stone looked almost black, and for it to, and one particular one kind of stood out and showed more red when the light hit it, and so that's kind of what he ended up just kind of merging together. So I mean, it's not like photoshopped or anything, but it was just a couple of different pictures that
Hmm.
captured the light just perfectly. And he always changes the covers just a wee bit
Hmm.
in the color scheme. So
Yep.
if you want, I'm so excited to actually get a physical copy of the third one, just so I can line them up and show the little nuances that are just kind of there between each of the covers. So I'm really excited.
Did you realize that that jewel on the cover was a real object? I don't know if you knew
Yes,
that.
I
You
did
did.
actually. I that was the first thing I noticed when the cover was revealed, that it was a real object, and that's actually my favorite thing about it. I think it's beautiful. I love it, and it's so Rose. I would expect nothing different. Absolutely nothing at all. I've never got to read your books though. I hate that. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I have never got to read your books yet. They
We
are
got to. You have a little
no.
bit of time until the third one comes out. So you could knock it out before September 22nd, the first two.
I believe I could, because I am actually a really fast reader, and but this I love this cover. As soon as I saw the reveal, I knew it was real, a real object. I noticed it instantly. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful cover, and I feel like it's going to draw people in.
I
Because
would
that
like to think so.
to me,
All of the other covers have, like the first two books, anywhere I've ever been and set up or sent out pictures,
for
they
me,
it just,
that's what it does. Like, I'm an avid reader, but there is something about covers. I almost don't even have to read the back of a book. And if a cover will almost win me over instantly.
mhm. It says a lot
Just
about a book.
right.
It's kind of like the heart of its personality, just
Right.
right up there up front to say, hi.
Exactly.
You want to pick me up,
Exactly.
don't you?
Yes. Beautiful. It's a beautiful cover art. I love it. I love it so much. It actually makes me wish I owned the actual object. I think it's beautiful.
I try to always have replicas. Now, this one in particular I will have little replicas to sell. So definitely by next Imaginarium, I will have these little replicas of the rings. They won't be as ordinate, or it won't be as elaborate as the cover one, because all the ones that are just replicas are just a downsize, either in size and or style. The Probably the hardest one that couldn't get exact replicas for was the second book cover. That pendant is huge. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that I've not really worn it to Imaginarium. The pendant is enormous, and that's why I had the teeny tiny little tree replicas done for necklaces.
Now, do you plan on making more books for this, or
Yes,
okay? I
yes,
didn't know
there's
if this
more.
was one of those where the characters just come to you and kind of nag you to make more, or if you were planning to end it, or if you were just going to continue it out.
Um, the uh, the first three I had written for quite some time. I didn't really finish book three until 2018,
Right.
and so I've been working slowly, little bits at a time, as things come to me for book four. So I have a premise for book four, not a full outline, but I have a premise. Um, so that one might take a while, Stephen. The other ones were like there, they just needed to be, like fixed and stuff. But yeah, so I'm really proud of all of them, and
Could be.
I'm very very proud of this third one. I started writing it, I think in 2015, and I just had so many interruptions, and then my dad had passed in 2018, whenever I was working on it some more, and I just stopped. I just, and it took me a little while to finish it. I was about halfway through it when he passed, and then uh,
Mhm.
once I kind of got things going, and then I finished it. So then it sat in my hard drive for a while, a really long while, actually.
Sometimes those things happen.
Yes, yes.
No,
Sometimes
I
life
understand.
happens and those things happen, and you just need something to kind of push you along to get it out there.
Oh, right, right, right.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I went through a similar kind of fog myself when my mother passed away, and yeah, totally understand. Yeah, what that's like. But definitely glad that you were able to get back to finishing it, and of course, book one, the Amulet of Elements, book two, Fate of the Realm, are excellent, and I think readers are going to absolutely love Path of Destiny. I think it's going to be a well received book by your regular readers, and yeah,
I'm
definitely it's got a
hoping.
nice balance. I've found, yeah, as an editor, I mean, it has a nice balance of things with the. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, you definitely have good character arcs going, but you have elements of romance in there, which you don't often all the time see in fantasy novels. You have great action. You have a large scale. It's not to the scale where you'd put it, classify it as epic fantasy. It's more of a high
Mhm.
fantasy novel, but it does have a larger scale to it, and yeah, it's got a lot of. I mean, you really got a lot of elements. Yeah, pardon the phrase there, because yeah, the amulet
Right,
of
the
elements.
first one,
But,
yes.
yeah, but
Well, I mean, the Amulet of Elements still carries over and is a big character in itself, just because there were so many people after it in the first book. And then there was still more people after it in the second book. And then the princess finally gets it. And
mhm.
so then so many things just changed after book two, that she felt like, okay, well, I've done this. There's nothing else I can do. She put the amulet away, and she didn't bring it back out until book 3. So, and there's
Mhm.
very good reasons why that she did such things. So you'll have to read it and find out exactly why. But
Yeah, I'm dying to say a few things, but yeah, they're too close to being spoilers. But
You have
yeah,
to
yeah, there's
I
some
keep it
know,
really
I
intriguing
secret.
stuff.
know.
There's some really intriguing stuff in this, and and you have some, like I said, the antagonist is very interesting in this, and definitely you have you have the presence of magic, and you also have the presence of the supernatural. You have
Hmm.
a lot of stuff that's kind of rooted in the Norse world, for instance,
Yep.
their pantheon and Valhalla and so forth, and is that that's why I'm guessing that's one of your favorite playgrounds for writing is the
It
Norse
is.
world.
Oh my gosh, it is. Well, as I said before, the first book came to me in a dream, and I just kind of wrote the dream out, and then I read it to a couple people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that would sound like a great book." So I dabbled. I've written things before, but not really a full book. And so it's, believe it or not, it started out as a children's book. And then it kind of just grew from there when I let someone else read it. And they're like, this is not for kids. You might think it's for kids, but maybe like junior, middle school or junior or something, junior age. But then there was other people that I let better read it, and like, well, you need more this and more that, and so everything just kind of flooded in once I let the characters do their thing.
Hmm.
And there's so many premonitions that my character has that comes true in between the first book and the second book. Well, then
Right.
there's some premonitions that she has in the second book that is yet to happen. You just have to read the third one to find out what they are. And I like to especially put it towards the end of a book, just to where it's like, okay, you got a little teaser and what could possibly happen, in the next book. But with premonitions, sometimes things change, you alter events that could possibly happen. And the next thing you know, that, well, this is very similar to this.
Hmm.
And but then there's more, like you get
Hmm.
more, and you're not left hanging and wanting, and like, oh damn, that was just a premonition.
Right. Right. But and you have a great protagonist. I really, really enjoy Princess Illyria Rose, and I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about her character arc because over the course of the 3 books, it's a great one, and she's a very strong character, and I yeah, definitely find her one of the strengths of the series so far.
I definitely had to make her do that. Anything that I've ever like watched as a kid or as an adult, there's always that cliche of the female protagonist being the damsel in distress, and she has to wait for the man to come save her. And I really didn't want that for Princess Illyria. I wanted her to save herself and realize that she didn't need a man to rescue her. And I'm glad in like a lot of the Disney uh, films and stuff that they actually have the newer protagonists to not need a hero. Sometimes they
Hmm.
actually save their love interest. And, in the first couple books, there are incidences where Princess Illyria does save her love interest or people around the love interest. And when she, at the end of book 1, she realizes that, oh, wow, I did all this on my own, and she has this moment of reflection, at the end of the book that's like, well, I may not be like, a princess in a normal fairy tale, but, you know, and I don't expect my happily ever after, but I did do this. And so when we get to book 2, she's older, she's experienced all these different things, love, loss, and losing herself, and trying to be so desperate to find out who she is. She ends up going on a dark path.
Mhm.
And I think that happens to us all, especially teenage girls, young women. They go on this dark path of thinking that this is what they want, and they're so desperate to try to get it that they overlook a lot of things. They overlook a lot of important things. And she's so like narrow focused that she ends up being manipulated and, put under a dark spell. And by the time she comes out of it, it's just too late. And we see a lot of her, as Mercury does. Mercury retrograde likes to show us our past mistakes that we have not learned lessons from. And she ends up having this experience in book 3. So when we're at book 3, she's a grown woman. She's knows what she's wants. She knows that this is her path and this is how it's going to be. And then whammo, something happens, and she just spirals again. And it takes a long time for her to pick herself back up. And when she does, she realizes that there's more to her story than just what has been foretold. There's more to her story than what she has experienced. And there's more to the story that she never imagined herself getting, that happily ever after. And she's hopeful, but she doesn't expect it.
Mhm.
And she's just still set on what her path of destiny is. And I
Mhm.
really feel like she finally gets to come together and be complete
Mhm.
in the 3rd book. And
Yes.
and I don't want to say anything else because
Right.
there's so much that the fans are probably have been biting their knuckles for these past 2 books. And it's been 2 years since the last book come out, and I've already got like a lot of people like, well, when's the 3rd book coming? I thought it was coming out summer solstice. I'm like, well, life happens. And and so like I'm like, just be patient, it'll be worth it, I promise. You
Mhm.
might be angry with me at the beginning, but you'll be happy with me in the end. And then at the very, very end, I do have a really big twist uh,
Mhm.
coming in the epilogue, and that's all I'm saying about that too.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And yeah, I wish I could talk about it because
I
that's
know
very,
it just
very
sets the
interesting.
stage for book 4. How's that?
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, there's definitely a good connector for the 4th book. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. But I also want to commend you because I think that, one of the mistakes that some authors make when they have an inspiration to have a really strong female protagonist or character, sometimes some of their male characters come out being very cardboard or not well developed or just, simply weak. And I want to, say, you also, in your ensemble, you have a number of very strong male characters,
Hmm.
including her love interest, including and some of them have flaws and stuff, like some of the princes and princes and everything, but you have a great ensemble of male characters too in this book. Yeah,
Yeah,
that I think.
I wanted them all to have their own, as far as the brothers, the princes, I wanted them all to have all of their own personalities, their own feelings, their own kind of lives in a way. And to bring their unique elements to the story, just as strongly as the princess. And of course, her love interest, I definitely wanted him and his family to have their own unique things about them, and even our evil wizard,
Yes. Yes. Interesting antagonist. Do you want to give a little bit on your antagonist?
Oh,
Because
yes.
that ties into the whole series.
Rawl is, you love him and you hate him at the same time. And I think that's my favorite things about him is he says it like it is, even though sometimes he doesn't come across in a very logical way, but it's his logic. And he's not
Mhm.
dumb. It's just how he sometimes how his thought process is for this, like, oh well, this is simple, I'm just gonna do it this way. And then it's like, drat, this didn't work, she thwarted me again. And then
Mhm.
there's like, that charming personality that he has, where you see in book 2, this is a great example. In book 2, he ended up having to be someone he wasn't, and really put forth that effort in manipulating the princess into thinking that he was totally somebody else. And he really, really pulled the wool over her eyes.
Mhm.
And but he showed signs of being caring and thoughtful, and you're like, what? No, you know girl, you're crazy, run. As the reader, you get to see everything because, my narrator lets you see everything. And he's just, the wizard is just like a whole nother entity in book 3. He's a lot darker. He's fed up. He's, just completely had it. He used to actually be really smitten with the princess. Like, he had it in his head that I'm going to marry her and procreate with her, and I'm going to rule the kingdom with her kind of mentality, and almost to the point of obsession. Like,
Mhm.
but now it's at the point where he's done. He's had it. He doesn't care what happens, you know, and but he seems to enjoy the whole cat and mouse thing.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say anything more about that
Right.
because, I've already hinted that, she's going to have to go through time itself. and,
Yeah.
and
I'm. Gl-
so, I mean, there's like an entire cat and mouse thing that coincides with that in their relationship.
well, I'm.
And,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was holding back to see if you mentioned the time shift aspects, but
mm-hmm,
that adds a little complexity to both Raoul and the story because you do
mm-hmm.
have some time jump elements, definitely magic enhanced. But I mean, he's powerful. I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah.
is. I mean, to the point that even that your gods are concerned
Oh, yeah.
about him, and
Yeah.
he's a threat. He's an actual threat to even
Mm-hmm.
their designs. And
Oh,
so, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, this is definitely a powerful protagonist that, or antagonist, sorry, an antagonist that really has a lot of compelling aspects. And I thought, yeah, he definitely is very interesting. Yeah, definitely, it's got a
Yeah,
lot.
I think he's just as important as Princess Illyria is in through everything. And even though in books 1 and 2, you still, and you do have in book 3, you do have that other character that is a bad guy
Hmm.
or woman, and but they work for him, or they're, set out by him. And and then the princess has to get through them in order to get to him. And it's like he's got his own set of minions that ends up being, trouble too. So, but no matter what, as you said, like all the male characters are just as equally powerful. And my narrator, I
Mhm.
feel like he actually finally gets to really shine in book 3, whereas he was introduced in book 2. You didn't really know who he was in book 1, so to speak. There's a little bit of a teaser, I think, about that in book 1. But you really kind of know who he is by book 2, and then you get to know him by book 3. And he's such a soft-hearted, kind, take no crap, but know when to back off, like,
Mhm.
and just, and then even, the other deities and stuff, they know that Princess Illyria has to do this herself. They'll help along the way, and she gets
Mhm.
lots of help along the way in book 3. But all in all, she's really got to do this. It's her path. You
Mhm.
know, even the Norns don't want to help her. Like,
Yeah.
yon yon girly, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not an easy path, and nor a smooth one, and she definitely takes her knocks along the way, and I think that's good though. I mean, for a very believable, relatable, type protagonist to have that, it shouldn't go swimmingly, of course, and
No.
but I also wanted to ask you though too, is that among your ensemble too, you took on some iconic characters.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there's so many portrayals of Merlin across literature now at this point, and you've
Mm-hmm.
got a really good Merlin take in this one. And so, how did you approach your Merlin? And I believe you succeeded in putting your stamp on this Merlin for your series. I do think, yeah, definitely this Merlin fits well with this. But what is your take on the inclusion of a character like that, and what it was like putting in an iconic character like that in your story, and how did you make it your own with that?
Well, I went as far back as his pagan roots and where he comes from. He has said he is amongst the Fey folk, like the entire. If you look into the lore, the entire, Knights of the Round Table, Camelot, all of that is a Fey realm. And so Merlin was just a powerful fae that, wielded such magic, to be like the shaman of his species. And so I took that characteristic of history with him and I merged it. And this is a really big spoiler, guys. I mean, let me tell you, I usually don't even chat about new characters coming in, but this is a big spoiler. So, with him being set to be, and this why I will not say, but he is set to be related to somebody else that you find out about.
Nice.
And yes, and let's just say that all the different aspects of Merlin's character, I love. I just absolutely love because you get him in different time periods, different ages, and then he ends up being this grumpy old wizard. But later, he's just so soft and kind hearted and, such a lovable character.
Hmm.
And
Not always
he
portrayed
is,
like that. Not in other
no,
other things. Often very enigmatic or downright hostile, and sometimes almost insane.
yeah.
But yes, in this one, yeah, you really do bond more with him.
Yeah, I wanted to have more of a real portrayal than what other either historians or other fantasy authors or television has portrayed him being.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and especially things that he does in relation to history. I really liked putting that twist on things because I do that with my Norse sagas, you know, and creating like a whole nother a saga off the sagas in a way, if you think about it.
Yep.
And as far as like characters becoming this because of A, B, or C. And so this is just another development with this type of history with him. And I do the same thing. Now, I pulled some true history for another character that gets really intimate with the princess. Let's just say that. And this is something that I pulled from history that a lot of people don't know about. And I mean, whenever such a history nut, I love history, um, and whenever I was doing history on the character itself, I didn't realize this one aspect of him, and I'm like, I bet not too many other people do either. So I'm going to use that.
Yeah,
What's this timeline?
you bet. You
Okay.
bet. Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything to interrupt timelines. So I wanted to stay true with, okay, this is during this time. Especially when Rawl gets involved into popping into timelines that he should not be in and creating catastrophes that no one knew who created it really. There was always fingers pointed at one race of people or another in
Mhm.
this one aspect. And then it ends up being Rawl that did it.
Mm.
And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, but I'm not going to tell anybody else. They got to
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah, now we got to get everybody to find out. Now, Beck, are you intrigued now? You've heard us talk about gods and a Merlin character and antagonists, protagonists, and I mean, you're getting an idea that there
I'm
is a
getting an
lot of
idea that's
elements.
irritating me because I don't know what's going on, and I want to know what's going on, and now I'm gonna have to get the books.
Yes.
It's bugging me so badly. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I have no idea what's going on, and you know I like to be nosy.
Yes.
So now I've got to get the books.
Well, what would you? You're a bibliophile, Beck, and you read a lot. That's one of your fine attributes. You are an avid reader. But what would you like to ask Rose to about this particular series and book? About this one that would really, you think sell it to like you? What for a high fantasy novel?
You know, I've actually never. I know this is horrible. Steven's going to knock my teeth out right now. I may never get to be on the podcast again
You'll be on
after
next week.
this. But I've actually, and my daughter may never claim me again because she loves fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
We
She
watch
loves fantasy.
fantasy. We
Yeah,
watch
she loves fantasy
fantasy.
genre.
We are a big watch fantasy, but I have actually never read fantasy.
Well, when
Ever.
you read it, it gets into more
So I
of
guess
a deeperness than the just watching it.
So I guess you've kind of just sold me to want to read fantasy for the first time. Because there's been a lot of times where I've thought, I really love the shows and I really want to read it, but I feel like it's going to drag on for 10,000 years.
Oh.
And I don't know that it's going to hold my interest for that long. But I think but you have me convinced that this is going to hold my interest.
I think it
I'm going
will.
to be able to do it.
There is nonstop
Right.
nonstop action and something constantly going on in all three books.
And Stephen does know that about me. I read literally anything you put in front of me, but I have never read a fantasy. And so when Addison decided she loved fantasy, we all just stared at her like, that's what you chose?
Addison's got the fantasy itch that I had as a kid.
She adores fantasy. I mean, you mentioned fantasy to her, and she's obsessed with dragons right now. She loves dragons. We actually just took her Goodwill shopping the other day. We bought her 2 dragon stuffed plushies.
Nice.
I mean, she dug out those dragon stuffed plushies and she goes, dragons. So we had to get them for her. And she's obsessed with anything fantasy. So, but I've never actually sat down and read a fantasy book that I have finished. So you just convinced me that I absolutely have to read your books now.
Well, I don't want to count all my eggs before the catch, but there is dragons in
But,
book 2.
before tonight, Holly had just told me that, because Holly knows I've never really read fantasy, but like 2 days ago we just talked about your books, and she said Rose's books are the fantasies that you would read, that you would like. Like,
Well, there's a little bit of everything.
We literally just talked about this. And it's funny that you said, I don't really think that these books are for kids. I'm not that mom. I'm telling you, my daughter would probably read them. Because we let them watch House of the Dragons. I'm just going to be honest with you.
With a little supervision.
With a little supervision, we watched the episode. Me and Jordan watched the episode before Holly and Steven watch it with the kids.
Yep. So
we know when there is nothing in it.
Yeah, we know when to make them, turn away for a second. Yeah.
Hey, there might be a scene that you need to close your eyes on.
For a second.
Well, there might be scenes you need to close your eyes on in the books.
The other day, she was like, why can't we watch Game of Thrones? And Steven goes, you have to be an adult before you can watch Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is a little more into it.
Yeah.
She is just
12,
she is, but we were so excited because it was just getting them to put their phones down.
Right.
And they're reading. Bentley is actually reading it. Bentley's reading a book about dragons right now, as a matter of fact. How to Train Your Dragon books. Yeah,
He's reading the How to Train Your Dragon series right now.
Series, that's it. Mm-hmm. And
that's awesome.
Then Addison started reading too, but we got her to start reading with a Becky Lynch biography. The legendary wrestler Becky Lynch. We got her the biography for her. Let's see, was that Christmas?
So desperate to get them to read, we don't even care at this point.
Yeah, whatever interests them. Yeah, we get them. But with Rose's book, I think the thing that I think you hit on a good point, Beck. I think this is a good fantasy for those that haven't in the past really read fantasy or enjoyed fantasy yet. I think this is a good connector for that.
She really convinced me that, okay, I've never read fantasy, but I want to read this. I want to buy this book and start with the first one and know what she is talking about, because this has me convinced that I would like this.
I put everything in the books that I loved as a child. And I was hardcore watching Neverending Story, Labyrinth, Legend, any of these. I read fantasy books. I read romance books. I read historical books. And
I will watch the movies until my eyeballs fall out. But I never read the books. But it was funny because until 2020, when we had the pandemic, I had never watched Neverending Story or any of those. And Steven just about, his heart was like, you must be joking me. And he ordered all this takeout food, and we binged everything under the sun because he just thought, this is not happening right now.
And if you love those, if you sat and loved Neverending Story, Legend, Labyrinth, Lord of the Rings, you like Game of Thrones and House of Dragon, then and having that innocence of Harry Potter, but that's about it. You will enjoy these because there's a little bit of romance, there's action.
Jordan literally binge watched Game of Thrones so quickly. Steven and Holly were like, I don't even know how you finished it that quick. I don't think we slept. I think our eyeballs and I would text, we would text them all hours of the night. I'm like, I'm so mad right now. and Steven would be like, "You're only going to get more mad. Just keep on trucking."
Mhm.
I told her, I warned her. I said, "You quit after season 7." I said, "Trust me, quit. Stop. Don't watch season 8." But she
And
did.
did you ever watch the Once Upon a Time series?
That was one of I loved the Once Upon a Time series.
Okay, so some of my inspirations, as far as like television goes, that went into the book, and not just like old school Grimm fairy tales. I do big hands on nods and little funny things with pertaining to little bits here and there of the Grimm fairy tales, and you got to really pay attention, and then you can catch them. But I was an avid Once Upon a Time and Supernatural junkie. So between just that awesome fantasy of all these complex characters kind of doing their own thing, coming together, and stuff was, through the Once Upon a Time thing, and how Rumpelstiltskin was in Once Upon a Time,
Once Upon a
and
Time.
Crowley from Supernatural. Those are my two main inspirations for Raw.
I loved Rumple so much. And it was great because Once Upon a Time actually premiered the weekend I had Addison. She was actually supposed to be born in December, but because
Uh-huh.
Addison's the most stubborn child known to mankind, she came in October. So she's a Halloween baby. She came the weekend of Halloween. And
Nice.
I instantly fell in love with Rumple. And everybody was like, Rumple, really? You're rooting for Rumple? And I'm like, shh, there's a story here. There's going to
Yes.
be more to it than you know.
Mhm.
Story. But I'm
That's
always
how
over here
deep
rooting. Yeah.
that's how deep Rawl is. He's very deep, very complex. If you've watched Supernatural and you guys all know who Crowley is, there's that air of sophistication and smarty pants and all of that rolled into one. And honestly, I think if anybody was to play him for his older character, Rawl morphs into many different types of himself over the 3 books. Gary Oldman, I think, would do an excellent job playing Rawl because he can be that
Yes.
snarky character
Yes.
so
I can see it.
easy.
I can see that. Yep.
Yeah, so if like, yeah, just think of that snarky character, but
So,
and then some of my inspiration television wise for the princess would be Charmed.
I love Charmed. Great
You
show.
think about all of everybody's powers collectively, a lot of them were my inspiration for Princess Illyria's powers. And then Legacies. I don't know if you guys ever watched Legacies.
I
It was a
started
spin-off of
So
the
I started
originals.
Legacies of the originals because there was
Huh.
Vampire Diaries and the originals and then Legacies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Holly was on here, she'd be cussing me out right now because I did not finish the
Uh-oh.
originals because I know how it ends and I refuse to watch the ending.
Well, I would got to be part of the season finale in the originals in
I I will
season
not.
3.
She gets
But
so mad at me. She's continuously says you need to suck it up and mourn like the rest of us.
yeah.
I'm like, no, I will not mourn like the rest of us because I already mourned in the Vampire Diaries, and I'm
Right.
still mourning to this day. So I will not mourn on the originals.
Well, the
But I
actress that plays Hope Michelson in Legacies,
yes,
I kind of visualize, how Princess Illyria would kind of look and kind of be in a way.
Hope
Um,
was a beautiful character, and
yeah,
I loved the episodes I have watched of her. I
yeah,
absolutely
her
love who she
adolescent
was.
self is who I feel like she would be. I haven't really kind of come up with who she would be as an adult yet. But I'm sure at some point it'll kind of
It'll come
hit
to you.
me. Yeah.
Mhm. So, do you have any idea, Rose, on currently on how many books the series will entail at the moment? Do you have a
Um,
yeah? Do you have an idea yet?
originally I thought it was just going to be 6,
Mhm.
but I'm feeling like there's going to be 9 for sure
Nice.
altogether.
That-
So, um, I feel like each 3 are going to be almost its own story, but like intertwined, connected through history and blood. So I'll just
yeah.
leave it as that.
So almost a trilogy of trilogies.
Yes,
Nice. Yes.
yes. It's a saga.
Yeah.
I'm panning it off of Norse sagas and how
Yeah.
a lot of them uh are intertwined and relate to one another, and you have the story eddas and these different other things that most Norse sagas are compiled of,
Hmm.
and that's kind of what I have envisioned for mine, since mine are predominantly Norse saga based.
Hmm.
So,
Well, you've
Beautiful
done.
Creatures did that. The Beautiful Creatures series. I think they were like 6 or 7 books. I loved the Beautiful Creatures series. I
mhm.
am bitter. I am bitter about that movie. I will be bitter about it until the day I pass on.
Oh,
They
No,
made
there's.
that movie, and I didn't go to the theater to watch it. I waited till it came out, and I remember sitting there and going, "What is this?"
mhm.
Because they did not go by the first book at all. They botched it, and then it never came out with anything else because they botched it so bad. But there was like 7 or 8 books to that, and that's one of my favorite types of series. Is when you just go on and on and
Yeah.
on. Like when the
Yep.
book is so good, you never want it to end.
Yeah, I even had thought about later, once the last one, is done. I even thought, well, I could easily do a prequel, but
Hmm.
the way that I kind of bounce back and around in time, I don't think I would like necessarily need a prequel per se, but it does give
Right.
like they do with Outlander, like you
Hmm.
have the main Outlander series, but then you have other characters that stood out so much in the books that they kind of get their own. And I would love to kind of touch base on that, especially some of Rawls' history and how things kind of was. And, I do intend on kind of reflecting on that a little bit more. I did some past things with Rawl. We see some past things with him again in book 3, but not as much as book 2. And then there's a lot more past history with Princess Illyria and her brothers that kind of pop up in book 3. um, just funny things that kind of connect the dots to everything.
Hmm.
There's another unsung character um, in the book series that keeps coming into play. It's definitely mentioned in the first book. It's mentioned again at the end in the right place during reflection time in the second book. And then the history of this is revealed in book 3,
Hmm.
and Merlin is the one that gets to you know gush about it, just like I'm gushing about the book now.
Yep. No, you could easily do. You could do short story collections set in this world. You could easily do spin-off novels with characters from this. I mean, yeah, you
Oh
got a
yeah.
wide ensemble,
Oh
and
yeah.
and
Even
and,
do
and
things in the
world building.
future.
The world building. Yeah, the world
Oh yeah.
building is big. So yeah, you got plenty of turf if
Oh
you want
yeah.
to do that when you get done. But yes,
Definitely.
the book 4 first.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, of
yeah.
course, yes. I would love to like be able to like have a map made. I have a rough map that I just drew out myself of, since all the realms are finally tied and
Mhm.
seen together in book 3, and it's just a map of, what I call the entire realm of Ragnarok. Whereas um you hear of the war of Ragnarok, and for me, you know well, what was that exactly? You know what I mean? So I created the entire realm being Ragnarok. So you have Tolidia, you have Norik, you have Inamor, you have blah 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 Ragnuum. You have all these different areas of where they're all on this.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I guess you would think of it as Midgard or whatever, for Ragnarok to be on the tree. So
Right.
on the family tree of realms.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so I'm really, really, really excited for the readers. It's going to be a roller coaster of not just places, times, character. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotion.
Mhm.
And I even, teared up, laughed all over
Yep.
again whenever I
Yep.
was going through my edits.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, going through it myself, yeah, some things really hit you in the feels, some things make you laugh. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Those
had
are
And
that
the best kind
reaction.
of books, though.
Mhm.
They really
and
are. The ones that get you in the feel, and you just put them down, and you just, when you think about it for even days ahead,
mhm.
it sticks with you. Those are my favorite books to read.
And
And
cussing the author.
and cussing the author. I love the books that I have thrown books across the room before. I'm
She
just gonna
has.
say it.
Yeah, she has.
I have thrown books
Uh-huh.
across the room before, but I love the authors for it because they have dug deep into my emotions, and I will go back and buy the new books because that means that they have put so much time into drawing in their fans and putting in the thoughts and the feelings, and those are the books I love. And those are the books that I'm going to talk about years to come.
Mhm.
It's the truth behind it.
And I
It
do have
really
to
is.
say, for each book is their own personality in a way.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
collectively, as you read book 1, not only are you getting to know everybody, know who they are, what they represent, but first and foremost, Princess Illyria starts out as a 16-year-old. And she, you watch her grow and mature. Well, it carries over into the second book where
Mhm.
she's a little older. And then I do have an additional time jump in book 2. Book 2 is thick.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one, but everything had to happen that way it did in book 2. Had to.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and and you grow up even more with her, and she grows up, and you kind of go with that with her.
Mhm.
And by the time you get to the third book, it's like, wow, you can't believe the amount of, just maturity. And when you look back, it's like those celebrity photos when you've got somebody from 2014 when they first came into like popularity, and look
Mhm.
at them now in 2024. So it's kind of like that whenever you have, the 2018 release of, or 2019 release of the Amulet of Elements. 2 years later, you got the Fate of the Realm. 2 years later, now we're at the Path of Destiny. And with that being said, I feel like each one is just surpasses the other book. in one way or another, and especially with how much Princess Illyria grows.
Well, sure, yeah, definitely, yeah. And that's a good series, yeah, one that builds from each title that comes out in it and gets stronger and stronger, and that's definitely the course you're going. And so, yeah, I definitely encourage everyone to take the Path of Destiny and pre-order this. Yeah, so definitely
Oh
head on
yeah.
over and get this. Yeah, September 22nd being the full release day for both print and ebook. But yeah, that's it's been awesome tonight exploring the Path of Destiny and the full series and your writing approach to it. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, we went. I know we went over a few minutes from what we planned, but thank you for, yeah, definitely talking with us about all of this because yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I've just wanted to gush so much about the book, and
Yeah,
I'm so proud of myself for not oversharing.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot of good stuff that's spoiler. It's connected to spoilers. So yes, I
Yes, yes,
encourage. Yeah, well, what we talked about tonight. I think only scratches the surface. Yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot behind this, which
Oh yeah,
it definitely is. Yeah, got too many spoilers to openly talk about. But yeah, trust me, you're going to discover a lot
oh yeah,
when you get into this.
oh
And
yeah.
I think those of you that haven't read fantasy, this is definitely one to give a try. Yeah, for to be a good introduction to it.
Oh yeah, and if you haven't read the first two books, and you're so intrigued by book 3, you have plenty of time to read books 1 and 2.
Hmm.
It's just the
Oh
beginning of
yeah.
August. And you have until mid September to read the third one, so you could
Yep.
easily knock out books 1 and 2.
Oh, easily,
It's
easily.
not War and Peace, I promise.
No, no. Or Brothers Karamazov, or yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not heavy.
Right? It's not
Like
a
that.
George
Yeah,
R. R. Martin.
yeah, or that. Yeah. So, but yeah, but definitely, I want to give you a chance to tell folks how to connect with you to follow you. As far as what platforms do you recommend connecting with you on, and websites and all that good stuff.
Well, my website is myname.com, so that one's pretty easy. I have an online store and just different pages about me and different things I do. I am always on Facebook, probably more than anything, then Instagram. The uh, platform formerly known as Twitter. um,
X,
Yes,
X,
I'm
yes.
I'm on LinkedIn, but more
Hmm.
of a professional side of things. I have a TikTok, believe it or not, guys.
Hmm.
And then I just recently started a Patreon. So I only have 3 people following me on Patreon. So if anybody wants to come over there, it's free. I will eventually I just haven't decided what I want to do with the Patreon. I really just started it because my favorite astrologer is on there. Jenny Webb astrology. Um, but yeah, so I think I covered all of them. Instagram, yeah, I'm on
Yep.
Instagram.
Yes,
So
you are.
yeah, so I'm pretty excited that I'm really easy to find. I mean, it's my name across everything, so you can't miss me. And
Nope.
if you're local to the area of, Knoxville area where I'm at, I'm pretty easy to find if you want to get an autographed copy of the book. I will do uh, a book tour after this one comes out. I love doing my half price books tours.
Oh yes. Yeah, you
Oh,
I
do them.
love
come
those
up
bookstores.
here.
I love them. So I definitely will be coming up to all 4 half price books between Lexington and Louisville.
Oh, do we
Um,
get
Fantastic.
to see you?
Yes,
yes.
we will. We sure
And
will.
then,
Yay!
of course, there's one in Nashville now. There's a couple of them I didn't get to last year. I was still kind of doing the tour with the second book, and there was still a couple of them I didn't get to make it to. So I'm really excited to try to go to new states and new areas where there's half price books. So if anybody has one in your area and you want me to come see you, then let me know and send me the info so I can try to get a booking.
Absolutely. And yes, again, that's rosemarieMachario.com for the website. And so, yeah, definitely, yeah, check that out and all the platforms that she mentioned. She's very active on them. I can vouch for that. Yeah, because yeah, she's kind enough to share some of our posts often. So, yeah, definitely check all that out. And before we close up for tonight, I'll Beck, is there any more comments you wish to make before we
Well,
wrap this up?
I did see that you did have didn't you say on Facebook that you had an announcement to make outside of your book?
Oh, I was just like gonna be the pre-order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't want to say it before like the podcast started. So I wanted that to be exclusive to the podcast for the pre-releases of. So
Yes.
It's been so exciting. I'm so glad you came on tonight. You're one of my favorites. I
me
love you so
too.
much.
I adore you. You are so fun.
Your energy. You're one of my favorite people to hang out with. And I was so excited when I found out you were going to be our guest. So it's been a blast. I know we went over, but I knew we'd go over. So it is what it is.
Oh,
It's
it's
okay.
fine.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
It was great. I love it.
yeah. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
hanging out with us a little longer tonight, Rose. This is again, 'cause I know you keep a very busy schedule, but thank you very much because yeah, it's been a great night, and I've really enjoyed getting to visit again the path of destiny. So yes, thank you, Rose.
Thank you very much. Buy the book.
Yes, buy the book. Yes,
Buy all the books.
support your authors. Yes. Yeah, and
Yes.
then those of you listening live right now will be the first people to be able to get this. You'll be on among the very first to pre-order this
Oh yeah,
because
because you're the first to know.
you literally are the first to know. So, but yeah, tonight has been a wonderful show, folks, and I've certainly enjoyed it with Rose Marie Machario. And thank you, as always, to co host Beck Harrison. And we will definitely be having another show next week on Thursday again. We'll be getting back to the Wednesday schedule after that. We just have one more week due to the Holly trip. So next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will be live with another guest for you. So thank you for listening tonight. And we will close this out and have a great week ahead and stay creative, folks. Good night, everyone.